The world is moving at a pace that seems uncontrollable. Events are unfolding with such speed that many have no time to even notice what is happening. And yet within these moments, something greater is taking place. The scriptures have spoken for ages of signs that would mark the last days, signs in the heavens, signs on the earth, and signs within nations. For so long, many have dismissed them, thinking they were distant, thinking they belonged to another generation, another people, another age. But now the alignment has come, the events have converged, and the last sign has appeared before us. This is not coincidence. It is not the product of random history. It is the hand of God weaving together prophecy with reality, eternity with time. What you are seeing now is not just news headlines or world developments. You are seeing a message, a warning, and a revelation. The final sign is not meant to be hidden. It is meant to awaken, to shake, and to call the hearts of those who still have ears to hear and eyes to see. For those who have become weary, who have grown numb from the noise of the world, the sign appears as a trumpet blast, saying the hour is late, the time is short, and the decision is now. It is easy to dismiss what is uncomfortable, to say the world has always had chaos, always had wars, always had earthquakes, always had confusion. But prophecy does not simply speak of events in isolation. It speaks of convergence. The moment when all things come together as one. This last sign is not an isolated event, but the culmination of everything spoken from the beginning. Imagine a puzzle scattered for centuries, with piece after piece falling into place. And now the final piece is set, revealing the full picture. That is what the last rapture sign represents. Reveals that the promises spoken long ago were not myths, not the words of ancient scribes, but the living word of God that stands outside of time and governs all of history. It is here to remove all excuses, to silence all doubts, to confront every heart with the reality that the day of the Lord is not far off, but standing at the door. This revelation should not bring fear to those who live in truth, because the appearance of the last sign is not a message of doom, but of hope. For what is the rapture? It is the blessed hope, the gathering of the faithful, the moment when mortality is clothed with immortality, and sorrow is exchanged for joy. The last sign does not come to terrify, but to prepare, to let you know that the moment of fulfillment is near, and those who are awake will not be taken by surprise. Just as Noah was warned of the flood and built the ark, just as Lot was urged to flee the city before destruction, so too the last sign is given to prepare the children of light so they will not be overtaken by darkness. But to those who ignore it, who mock it, who continue in slumber, it will come like a thief in the night, unexpected and irreversible. This is why the last sign is not only a revelation, but also a test of the heart, for it divides those who are ready from those who are not. The greatest danger in this hour is not what is happening in the world, but what is happening in the heart. The world may rage, nations may rise and fall, storms may shake the earth, but if your heart is asleep, if your spirit is distracted, if your life is consumed with temporary things, then the sign will pass you by, and you will miss the very call that was meant to save you. The final sign has appeared not to be ignored, but to call you back to your first love, to awaken your faith, and to remind you that you were not created for this world alone, but for eternity. This is why you cannot turn away. This is why you must watch, and this is why the message of this hour is more urgent than ever before. There is a subtle danger in this hour, not the danger that comes with wars or famines or storms, but the danger that comes when the soul falls asleep. Too many are living as if time stretches endlessly before them, as if tomorrow is promised, as if the signs written across the skies and the earth are nothing more than random events. Yet the voice of prophecy declares otherwise. To be asleep in a time like this is to be blind to the hour, and to be blind to the hour is to be unprepared for what is coming. The scriptures tell us of a generation that would see the fulfillment of the signs, a people who would live at the threshold of eternity. That generation is not somewhere far off in the future. It is now. The signs have gathered, the trumpet is ready to sound, and still so many remain indifferent, preoccupied with the temporary, distracted by the fleeting, unable to see the eternal reality standing before them. The last sign has appeared not only to announce the moment, but to shake us awake, to tear us from slumber, and to confront us with the urgency of this hour. To sleep spiritually is to live as if nothing has changed, to live as if history will continue without interruption, to ignore the handwriting on the wall. But to awaken is to see that the patterns of the world are aligning with the words spoken thousands of years ago, that the warnings are not abstract but concrete, that prophecy is no longer just in the pages of ancient scrolls, but in the headlines of today. Awakening means you cannot live the same way anymore. You cannot treat time as casual. You cannot treat life as common. You cannot treat your soul as secondary. The awakening is a call to reorder your priorities, to set your heart on what matters most, because eternity is closer than it has ever been. Imagine a city where sirens begin to sound, warning of an approaching storm. But the people continue in their markets, their entertainments, their distractions, as if the sound meant nothing. Some hear but shrug it off, others mock, others say the sound has no meaning. Yet the storm comes. That is what it means to be asleep in the last days. The alarms are sounding, the signs are flashing, and yet many continue on as if nothing has changed. To awaken is to take the siren seriously, to recognize that the time left is short, to move into shelter before it is too late. The final sign that has now appeared is such a siren. It calls to each of us. Do not waste the moment, do not waste the chance, do not waste the call. But awakening is not merely about urgency, it is also about transformation. When you awaken, you see life differently. You no longer cling to what is fading because you realize it cannot last. You no longer allow yourself to be bound by fear because you know the one who holds the future. You no longer drift aimlessly because you see the path before you. Awakening gives you vision, and vision gives you strength to walk in a world that has lost its way. In this hour, the greatest need is not more knowledge, not more possessions, not more noise, but more awakening of the soul. For an awakened soul shines as a light in darkness, stands firm in the storm, and lives with purpose when others are lost. So the call of the last sign is clear: do not sleep through the most critical hour of human history. Do not waste the time that remains. Do not treat as ordinary what heaven has marked as extraordinary. This moment has been written, and you are alive in it not by accident, but by destiny. To awaken is to recognize that you were chosen to see this day, to rise in this hour, and to stand ready when the trumpet sounds. The sign is here, the moment is now, and the choice is yours. When the world looks around and sees chaos, fear, and uncertainty, the heart can easily sink into despair. The nations are restless, the earth trembles, and the future seems dark. Yet within all this, the appearance of the last sign is not given to drive us into hopelessness, but to lift our eyes to something greater. The truth is that prophecy was never meant to paralyze, it was meant to prepare. The last sign does not declare the end of hope, but the fulfillment of it. For centuries, believers have held onto the promise that one day the Lord will return, that one day the faithful will be caught up, that one day sorrow will end. That promise was not spoken in vain. The presence of the final sign tells us that the promise is near, that the waiting is almost over, and that the darkest hour is only a prelude to the dawn. Fear thrives when the future seems uncertain, but prophecy removes the uncertainty. The rapture is not speculation. It is the Word of God, and it is called the blessed hope. To see the last sign appear is to realize that we are standing on the edge of that blessed hope, closer than any generation before us. This is not the time to give up, not the time to lose heart, not the time to surrender to despair. The signs are not against you. If you belong to Him, they are for you. They are reminders that the one who promised will surely come, that the pain of the present is temporary, and that the joy ahead is eternal. When you look at the world and see its unraveling, you can also look at the heavens and see the nearness of redemption. There is a pattern woven throughout Scripture that in the midst of judgment, God always makes a way for His people. When the flood came, there was an ark. When Egypt faced plagues, there was protection in the blood of the Lamb. When the city was destined for destruction, there was a way of escape. The last sign does not mean doom for those who believe. It means deliverance. The gathering of the faithful is not an afterthought. It is a promise written in eternity. Even as the storm clouds rise, even as the world shakes, there is hope beyond the storm. This hope is not built on feelings or circumstances, but on the unshakable Word of God, a Word that cannot fail, a Word that endures when everything else crumbles. Hope changes how you live. Without it, you are tossed by every wave, shaken by every crisis, overwhelmed by every headline. But with it, you stand firm because you know the ending before the story concludes. The last sign is the confirmation that the author has not forgotten his script, that every prophecy written will find its fulfillment, and that every tear shed in faith will be turned into joy. To live with hope in these days is to walk with your eyes lifted, to see beyond the temporary, to anchor your soul in eternity. That is why the last sign is not a curse, but a gift. It reminds you that what lies ahead is greater than what lies behind, that the coming kingdom is nearer than the crumbling of this world. So, when fear whispers that everything is falling apart, let hope answer that everything is falling into place. When despair says there is no way, let faith declare that the way has already been made. The sign has appeared not to weigh you down, but to lift you up, not to fill you with dread, but to fill you with expectation. The rapture is not the end of the story, it is the beginning of the greatest chapter yet to come. Therefore, let your heart not be troubled. Let your soul rise with courage. Let your eyes stay fixed on the one who promised, because hope beyond the storm is not just an idea. It is your destiny. The rapture is not a theory, not a myth, not a distant concept meant to be debated in classrooms or whispered about in speculation. It is an appointment, and every appointment with God is certain. Just as the sun rises and sets, just as seasons come and go, just as prophecy has been fulfilled in ages past, so too the rapture will come to pass. The final sign that has appeared is heaven's declaration that the appointment draws near. Preparation is no longer something optional or secondary. It is essential. There is no postponing eternity, no delaying the trumpet sound, no bargaining with the moment when the heavens will open. To be ready is not simply to know about it, but to live as if it could come at any moment, because it can. The call of this hour is not to curiosity, but to readiness, not to speculation, but to preparation. Imagine a wedding feast where invitations have been sent, the table prepared, the bridegroom at the door, but the guests are still caught up in their daily distractions. Some are too busy with their work, others with their pleasures, others with their own plans. The moment comes, the doors are open, and those who are not ready are left outside. That picture was given as a warning, And the final sign now confirms it. The rapture is that wedding feast, the great gathering of the bride and the bridegroom, and readiness is not about words, but about the state of the heart. Preparation means living in alignment with eternity, keeping your lamp burning, your heart awake, your soul set apart from the shadows of this world. Readiness also means living with urgency. Too many believe they have time. They say tomorrow they will turn back, tomorrow they will pray, tomorrow they will surrender, tomorrow they will walk in faith. But tomorrow is never guaranteed. The final sign has appeared to strip away the illusion of endless tomorrows and to remind you that today is the day of decision. The trumpet will not sound according to your schedule. The heavens will not open according to your convenience. The call to readiness is for now, not later, because later may never come. To live ready is to live with the awareness that every choice matters, every action counts, every day carries weight before heaven. But readiness is not born out of fear, it is born out of love. When you prepare for someone you love, it is not a burden but a joy. The bride does not prepare for her wedding day with reluctance, but with eagerness, because her heart longs for the one she loves. In the same way, readiness for the rapture is not about living in dread, but in devotion. It is about longing for His appearing, desiring His presence, and keeping your heart free from anything that would dull that desire. Preparation means letting go of bitterness, pride, and compromise, and instead clothing yourself in faith, hope, and love. When the bridegroom comes, it will not be fear that carries you to Him, but love. And love always makes itself ready. So let the appearance of the final sign be your call. Do not delay. Do not be distracted. Do not waste the moments that remain. Ready your heart, ready your home, ready your life. For when the trumpet sounds, there will be no more time to prepare, no more second chances, no more turning back. The day is coming, the moment is near, and the appointment will not be missed. The question is not whether the rapture will come, but whether you will be ready when it does. To live in the light of the last sign is to live with a vision that stretches beyond the present moment, beyond the temporary distractions, beyond the passing shadows of this world. When the final sign appears, it is heaven's reminder that everything around us is fading, but what lies ahead is eternal. Too many people spend their days chasing what cannot last. Wealth that can vanish in a moment, pleasures that grow dull, possessions that decay, positions that crumble. The sign was not given so you could continue to build your life upon sand, but so you could set your heart upon the rock that cannot be moved. Eternal vision means seeing your life not as a collection of days, but as a preparation for forever. It means recognizing that every choice you make here echoes into eternity, that every act of faith carries weight beyond time, and that every sacrifice for God is not lost but stored as treasure in a kingdom that cannot be shaken. The danger of living without eternal vision is that you begin to confuse the temporary with the ultimate. You treat the urgent as more important than the important. You live for comfort instead of purpose, and you measure your life by the standards of a world that is passing away. But when the last sign appears, it pierces that illusion, tells you that the kingdoms of this world are collapsing, that the foundations of man's systems are crumbling, and that the only kingdom that will stand is the one that has no end. Eternal vision opens your eyes to see that you were never meant to be defined by the dust of this earth, but by the glory of heaven. When you live with eternal vision, fear loses its grip. You no longer tremble at the shifting of the world, because your foundation is not in the world. You no longer cling to possessions, because you know they cannot follow you, and you no longer chase after the applause of men, because you are living for the approval of one. Eternal vision gives courage because it lifts your eyes above the storm. The storm may rage, but you know the destination. The path may be narrow, but you know the reward. The times may be uncertain, but your eternity is certain. This is why the final sign is not a call to panic, but a call to clarity. It clears the fog of distraction and forces you to ask, what will remain when everything else is gone? Living with eternal vision does not mean you withdraw from the world. It means you live in it differently. You love more deeply because you know love endures beyond time. You forgive more freely because forgiveness reflects eternity. You give more generously because you know your treasure is not diminished, but multiplied in heaven. Eternal vision makes you a light in a darkened world because it shows through your life that you belong to a kingdom, not of this world. When others are shaken, you stand firm. When others are hopeless, you shine with hope. When others are consumed with fear, you live with peace. So let the last sign awaken your eyes. Let it remind you that this life is not the end, but the beginning. That the rapture is not escape, but fulfillment. That eternity is nearer than your next breath. Do not waste your days on what fades. Invest them in what lasts forever. Every act of faith, every word of truth, every step of obedience is building your eternal story. And when the trumpet sounds, when the skies open, when the moment arrives, you will see that nothing done for eternity was ever wasted. This is the vision that will carry you, the vision that will sustain you, the vision that will prepare you for the day that is coming. The last sign does not only point to the fulfillment of prophecy, it confronts every heart with a choice. You cannot see it and remain neutral. You cannot hear its message and stay unchanged. Demands a response. The sign divides between those who are ready and those who are not, between those who walk in faith and those who remain in complacency, between those who live for eternity and those who cling to the temporary. Every great moment in history has brought with it a call to decision. But no moment carries the weight of this one. To see the last sign appear is to stand at the threshold of eternity, and eternity does not allow for halfway measures. Either you choose to live awake, prepared, surrendered, or you drift into darkness and risk being left behind. The choice cannot be postponed because the hour is late and the trumpet could sound at any moment. So many live as if they can delay this decision, as if they can walk in compromise today and make things right tomorrow. But the truth is that tomorrow is not promised. The sign itself is God's way of stripping away excuses, of silencing every delay, of saying to every soul, the time is now. This is not about fear, but about truth. The rapture will not wait for convenience. It will not pause for hesitation. It will not bend to indecision. When the heavens open, when the trumpet sounds, there will be no time left to choose. The decision is made now. In the way you live, in the way you believe, in the way you set your heart. The final sign also reveals the danger of complacency. Complacency is not open rebellion. It is not outright denial. It is the quiet, subtle belief that there is no urgency, that there will always be more time. That life can continue unchanged. But complacency is the thief of readiness, lulls the soul to sleep and blinds the eyes to the reality of eternity. The parable of the 10 virgins was spoken for this very reason. 5 were wise, prepared, lamps filled with oil. 5 were foolish, complacent, unprepared. The difference was not in their knowledge, for both knew the bridegroom was coming. The difference was in their readiness, in the choices they made while they still had time. When the cry came at midnight, it was too late to prepare. So too the last sign is that midnight cry, the final warning that the hour is near and the oil must be in your lamp now. But the call of the last sign is not only about warning, it is about destiny. To choose readiness, to choose faith, to choose surrender is to step into the very purpose for which you were created. You were not made to drift aimlessly or to live for what perishes. You were made to know God, to walk with Him, to reflect His light, and to enter into His kingdom. The last sign is heaven's call to return to that purpose, to lay aside every weight that holds you back, and to rise into the life you were meant to live. It is a call to courage, because walking in faith when the world mocks is not easy. It is a call to strength, because choosing what is eternal means letting go of what feels safe in the moment. But it is also a call to victory, because those who choose Him will not be disappointed, and those who endure will see the promise fulfilled. In the end, the last sign is not about the world, it is about you. It asks you the ultimate question: will you be ready? Will you live for what is eternal or for what is passing? Will you prepare your heart for the trumpet, or will you be caught unaware? The choice is yours, and no one can make it for you. But know this: the one who gave the sign also gives the strength to choose, the grace to stand, and the love that draws you. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. Eternity stands before you, and the last sign has already appeared.